It's a shame you can't choose when you die. External forces conspire against it. And when you start talking about selecting your own departure date, people become quite alarmed. It's tiresome how others insist on meddling in one's affairs. I think death should be like a game show where you get to pick what's behind one of 3 doors. The doors indicating the general categories. It's what's behind the door that gets into all the particulars of your specific case. The 3 doors would be sudden death, slow death, and death in your sleep. That last one, for some inexplicable reason, being extremely popular. I don't understand why people find it so desirable. So what happened when you died? I don't know, I slept through it. How lame. But I guess it's better than what happened to the rest of the people in the car.
And you, Phyllis Hamilton, do you take this man to be your legal, lawfully wedded husband, to love, honor, and obey until death do you part?
I do. Oh!
She's fainted, Dr. Rayburn.
Take her into the anteroom.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Rayburn, I'm Pat Hunter from the Chronicle.
Please, this is no time for interviews.
Shall I telephone for the ambulance?
No. The undertaker. She's dead.
Does this mean the reception's canceled?
Hey, I can go now.
Is that all? Gee, thanks.
Good evening, Dr. Rayburn. I'm from the Forest Mortuary.
Forest Mortuary? Why, 2 of your men just drove away with the body a few moments ago.
Well, there must be some mistake. They weren't our men.
Well, I've heard of ambulance chasing, but this is something new.
New? It's sensational. Another kidnapping of a dead bride. What a story!
And a few minutes ago, one of the men who helped remove the body of the mysteriously dead bride was apprehended by the police.
Go on, keep talking.
Oh, what I told you, I was standing on the corner, minding my own business, when along comes a stiff wagon. A guy poked his head out of the window and asked me if I want to make a couple of bucks.
How many men were with that hearse?
2. At least all I could see.
What'd they look like?
I don't know. It was dark. I didn't pay no attention to faces.
You noticed the license?
What, with $2 staring me in the face?
Come on, tell the truth. What'd you do with the corpse?
I didn't do nothing with it. What I tell you is the truth. So help me.
Attorney, Mrs. Wentworth, I assure you there won't be any trouble. You can proceed with the wedding as planned.
Well, we want some assurance besides words. We want protection.
I'll have plenty of men guarding the chapel. And if I'm any judge of the appearance of your daughter, she looks as healthy as she is beautiful.
Oh, really, Mother, I think you're making much ado about nothing.
You're not worried, are you?
Not in the least.
Well, if we have protection, I'll feel much better about it.
You'll have it all right, Mrs. Wentworth. Tell Jones and Riley to wait. I'll pick him up.
That's the Wentworth mother and daughter, isn't it? Is the wedding called off?
Certainly not, and there isn't going to be any trouble either.
That's what all the rest of them thought.
I can't answer for Miss Wentworth's health, but your paper can print one thing, and that is that there'll be no more theft of girls' bodies.
Yeah. This'll get you and Sandy into the wedding, and I want plenty of photographs.
Oh, don't worry, boss. I got enough film to cover the Russian front.
Oh, Mr. Keenan, you promised to take me off the society column.
Oh, quit beefing. You're getting a break. This is the most exclusive wedding of the year.
What if the Wentworth girl drops dead, too?
You'll still tell me what she's wearing, along with the rest of the fancy pants. Get me the guest list and don't bother about anything else. I've got 3 men working with the police, and there'll be plenty more thereabouts. If the bride pulls up this time, there won't be any snatching. Now get going.
What if I get a clue?
Oh, I wouldn't let that bother me, sweetie pie. You wouldn't know a clue if it bit you.
I'll remember those words, stooge.
Why are you so nervous, Mother? After all, I'm the one that's getting married.
Oh, I just can't help it. I'm so afraid something will go wrong.
Oh, forget it. Nothing can possibly happen.
Oh, Alice! Oh, you look perfectly beautiful.
I look all right.
Oh, yes, I'm so thrilled.
Oh, I am too. Have you seen Dwight?
No. Make it snappy. We're late and this wedding won't wait for us.
Can I help it if we had a blowout?
Serves you right. Why don't you buy some new tires for this bus?
You know, I've been thinking of getting... Hey, are you kidding?
Come on.
You mustn't come in here. It's bad luck.
Oh, not even a peek?
Not even one. You'll see me soon enough.
You see?
Girls, do you mind if I have these last few minutes alone with Alice?
Oh,
I know. We understand.
Well, Mother, you're about to lose me.
I hope not forever, dear.
Oh, of course not. What are you talking about?
Do you feel all right, dear?
Certainly. I never felt better in my life. You should forget all that silly nonsense about those brides dropping dead.
For Miss Wentworth.
Oh, thank you. From Dwight, no doubt.
Oh, wear this next to your heart, darling. All my love. What an unusual orchid.
Why, I never saw one like it before. It's lovely.
It's beautiful.
The minister is ready, Mrs. Wentworth.
Thank you. Say a little prayer, darling.
You look faint, dear. Do you feel all right?
Come on, everybody. Let's get in the photo.
Darling, are you all right? Oh, Alice, dear. Alice.
It's happened again.
I just got the picture of the month.
just phoned the news to Keenan. Did you get any more pictures?
Did I get pictures? I covered everything except a close-up of this pretty posy.
Why, that looks like the one the bride wore. What are you doing with it?
Presenting it to you, sweetheart, as a token of my devotion. Take a smell.
Who ever heard of an orchid with a scent?
Well, that one has. Maybe it's a clue.
What a peculiar sweet odor.
Yeah, make a swell romaine salad. Hey, Pat, you're not going to pass out too, are you?
No, I'm okay.
You stay right here.
What kind of a gag is this? No driver, no license plate. Maybe it isn't a gag. Maybe it's a decoy. Well, maybe you're right.
Calling all cars, calling all cars. Another abduction of a girl's corpse. Brunette, 22 years of age. Stop and search all trucks and suspicious-looking cars. That is all. Burnside.
Pile out. We're taking a look inside this rig.
Sure thing, officer.
Corpse, all right, but not the one we're looking for. All right, go ahead. Change that headline to read as Wedlock Challenged. Then set up an editorial attacking the DA's office for playing marbles while some madman runs away with the bodies of dead brides.
And get me a caramel latte macchiato with extra foam.
Oh, so it's you. Well, of all the rotten stories that have ever been turned into this office, yours takes the prize. No guest list, and we don't even know what the bride wore.
She wore this orchid.
Listen, Miss Hunter, I have a great responsibility. I'm a public servant. Parents are calling the Chronicle frantically with tears in their voice, begging for news of their daughters. I have a daughter myself who's about to be married. Maybe she'll drop dead, too. But she won't drop dead from an orchid.
I didn't say that.
Well, then what are you talking about?
Every one of the brides that died and disappeared were wearing one of these orchids.
How do you know?
Well, I checked. Look at these pictures.
All right, perhaps it's a coincidence. It still doesn't spell anything.
Then where did the Wentworth girl get this orchid? The bridegroom didn't give it to her.
Perhaps a dozen people gave it to her. Her mammy, her pappy.
No, they didn't either. I checked. Besides, this orchid has a peculiar odor. That's unusual.
Well, if you think it's a clue, why don't you follow it up?
Is that an assignment?
It's a notice that you're through if you don't bring something in.
Okay, Mr. Keenan.
My little family. You're all so very faithful.
Master, the Countess is waiting.
Upstairs?
There.
Oh, we must hurry. Mike?
Are you suffering, my beloved? Terribly. You must hurry.
I'm so sorry, but I was detained. Please forgive me.
Forgive you. You loiter and waste time while I wait here dying. Dying.
Courage. I will not let you die.
Better death than agony like this. Look at me. Look at me.
Calm yourself, my dear.
Now, will you hurry?
Courage, my dear, courage.
Bro, ditch her. Let's go out, have some drinks, go bowling, just us dudes. Dicks before chicks, man.
Why do you beat my son so hard?
Because he's a beast, an animal. And someday I shall have to destroy him.
My poor son, why was he ever born?
They hadn't passed Roe v. Wade yet.
Can you bear to look at me now?
Of course. You're beautiful. And I shall always keep you that way.
Will she live?
As long as she can be of any use to us.
She's pretty. Very young.
All of them must be. Come, my dear. Look after the girl, Parker.
Yes, Master.
Although you can't choose when you die, You can choose how to go about doing your funeral. You even get to plan that way in advance. But after that, you do have to rely on relatives and friends to carry out your wishes. Let's hope they don't let you down. Anyway, you can have all sorts of fun planning your funeral. You could be stuffed and mounted by a taxidermist. Or you could be hollowed out and used for a piñata, packed with prized possessions you wish to bequeath to your survivors. If you're cremated, you could have your ashes sewn into a teddy bear. That would be so thoughtful. You know, I think cremation ashes could be used like talcum powder. My favorite is to stipulate that the ashes are contained in a salt shaker on the kitchen table. This would give your loved ones an opportunity to really internalize your presence in their lives.
None of the florists I checked with ever saw an orchid like that.
Well, that's not surprising. This particular type belongs to the Stanhopea class. It's a very rare species.
Do you know of anyone that grows them?
No. But if you wish to find out more about them, I suggest that you look up a man by the name of Lorenz. He was the one who originally hybridized this plant, over in Europe somewhere.
But I just can't go to Europe just to...
Oh, that isn't necessary. He lives up at Brookdale now.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
You're quite welcome.
Looks like that box got a coffin in it, Jed.
Sure does. For Professor Lorenz. What do you suppose he wants with a coffin?
Search me. He's such a strange, spooky guy. The further I stay away from him, the better.
Me too.
I'll take charge of this.
Go ahead, take it away. Glad to get rid of it.
Taxi lady?
Yes.
Right this way. Where to, miss?
To the home of Professor Lorenz.
Lorenz, I'm sorry, I can't take you there. I'm out of gas.
You mean you won't take me?
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry. I just...
Is this the only taxi in town?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Look, I've simply got to get to the Lorenz place. I'll make it worth your while.
Oh, I'm sorry, lady, but that truck's going up there. You might get a ride with him, that is, if you don't mind riding with a coffin.
Would you give me a lift to the Lorenz place?
What do you want to go there for?
To see the professor.
Does he expect you?
No, but
Then we can't take you.
Get off and stay off.
Look, I've got to see Professor Lorenz. It's important.
I said you couldn't ride.
Hey, wait a minute. You've got my bag. Oh. Would you mind giving me a lift?
Well, certainly not. Where are you going?
I'm trying to get to the home of Professor Lorenz.
Well, you're in luck. That's where I'm going. Get in.
Thank you.
My name is Dr. Foster.
I'm Patricia Hunter.
Torpor.
Friend of the Lorenz?
Now, I'm a reporter. I hope to interview the professor. You're his doctor, I presume?
Well, not exactly. Lorenz is a doctor himself, but he has no license to practice. I've been working with him. We're trying to find a cure for his wife.
Oh, I see. What type of people are the Lorenzes?
You'll find them very interesting. Professor Lorenz is a man of unusual accomplishments, but his wife is rather peculiar. I expect you'll find them both a bit eccentric.
Judgmental much?
Toby, tell your master I'm here.
Cheerful little fellow, isn't he?
I told you they were eccentric.
I'm inclined to believe you.
Get out, you gargoyle! Get out!
He prefers the term little person.
Good evening, Dr. Foster. Come right in.
Good evening, Professor Lorenz, the Countess. May I present Miss Patricia Hunter?
How do you do?
We have been expecting you.
So you found my bag in your truck?
Yes. There it is.
Miss Hunter's a newspaper woman.
I came here hoping you might grant me an interview.
An interview? About what?
No one asked you to come here. You are not welcome.
Control yourself, my dear. I'm sure Miss Hunter meant no harm. Please forgive my wife. She's not well. Come, you had better retire.
So that's what you call being eccentric. Well, I have another name for it.
I do not like that girl. She is here for no good.
We have nothing to fear.
I'm sorry, Professor, if we're intruding.
Not at all, Dr. Foster. This is our evening for work. Please, be seated.
Thank you.
What do you wish to interview me about?
Orchids.
Orchids?
Yes, I understand that you're an authority on the subject.
They were once my hobby, but I haven't grown any for several years. Which species are you interested in?
A very rare one of the Stanhopea type. A horticulturist told me that you're the original hybridizer of it.
Have you ever seen one?
Yes, I have one in my bag. I'll show it to you.
Where did you get it?
Oh, a friend of mine gave it to me. You see, I'm doing an article on orchids for my newspaper, and I thought that you might be willing to supply me with some special data.
I'm sorry I can't spare a time tonight, Miss Hunter. You see, I have very important work to do with Dr. Foster.
I understand.
If your interview can wait until morning, I'll drive you back here then. If that's agreeable with Professor Lorenz.
Well, it's quite agreeable, but I would suggest that you both stay here as my guests.
Thank you very much, but I prefer going to a hotel.
Just as you wish. I think it would be foolish to go out in such a storm.
The professor is right, Miss Hunter. Perhaps we had better remain. However, if you insist, I'll gladly drive you back to the village.
I'm afraid that would be an imposition since you've so much work to do. Thank you, I'll stay.
Toby will show you to your rooms. Toby, take up Miss Hunter's bag.
Good night.
Good night. I'll meet you in the study soon.
Very well.
Why did you ask her to spend the night here?
A very special reason.
Thank you.
Look, they had Oops-a-Dooby Punch in the minibar.
I guess you sleep very good. Maybe.
few times I've stayed overnight here, I slept unusually well.
It must be wonderful to have nerves like that. Tell me, just how well do you know these people?
Why, actually, not very well. I've only recently moved into the village. You know, a young doctor trying to establish a practice.
Well, I must be keeping you from your work. Good night, Doctor.
Good night.
What do you want? Yes, you are beautiful.
How did you get in here?
Hey, I don't want to freak you out, but I'm in here too.
So young. Such lovely skin. Sometime you too will be a bride.
It smells like feet and old cheese in here.
I know where you're going. Someday, the master will catch you. Then you'll be sorry.
Doctor.
What's wrong?
I just saw someone in my room, a horrible-looking creature. He disappeared back there.
Apparently he's not here now. Where did you see him?
Leaning over my bed.
Of course, you might have been dreaming.
I'm positive I wasn't. Earlier in the evening, Mrs. Lorenz suddenly appeared and then disappeared. Do you suppose there's another entrance to this room?
Oh, I doubt it. Why don't you try to go back to sleep? No one's going to harm you. I'm sure it was just a nightmare.
I think this whole place is a nightmare. Professor Lorenz and his wife were actually sleeping in coffins. I saw them.
We often find it difficult to explain the peculiarities of some people.
I guess so. I'm awfully sorry to bother you.
It was no trouble. If you're frightened, call me again. Good night.
Good night.
What is the trouble?
The angel. He has disturbed our guests.
Always the angel. He is a menace to us.
Yes. I think the time has come to dispose of him.
Where'd you get the leftovers?
not be afraid, angel. I would not hurt you.
I am an advocate of ceremony compression, where multiple rituals are combined into one event. For example, when passing your driver's examination, you should also graduate from swimming class. You never know when you might follow that urge to veer off the bridge and plunge into the river. Saves time that way, combining things. After all, people have things to do. And speaking of people, I noticed that they tend to cry at both weddings and funerals. So, I think they should be held simultaneously. Think of the efficiency. You just got married and now immediately proceed with your funeral. Everyone's already there. You'd be spared the inevitable disappointment of married life. You could leave the wedding ceremony and this world in a giddy state of bliss, eagerly anticipating what is next to come.
Yes?
Good morning, Miss Hunter.
Oh, good morning. Just a minute, Dr. Foster. I want to see you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were up.
Oh, I've been up all night with dead people.
Dead people? What do you mean?
Come in and I'll tell you. What kind of a place is this? Last night I had the most horrible experience of my life.
Well, what was it?
I saw lots of girls in crypts down underneath this house.
Pardon me. What was that you were saying, Miss Hunter?
I have you a mausoleum in the basement.
Mausoleum? What are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about. All those dead girls and that horrible dead creature.
My dear, you must have had a bad dream.
Now look, Professor, this was no dream.
Hey, Bella, could we get some more towels and mini shampoo in here?
When did you see all this?
Shortly after I called you and told you about that horrible creature in my room.
Is that true, Dr. Foster?
Well, I don't recall anything about it, Miss Hunter. You must be mistaken.
Well, if I was dreaming, it was the darndest nightmare I've ever had.
Well, I slept very soundly myself.
Miss Hunter was rather upset, I think, when she retired. You see, in our dreams, our minds play strange tricks on us sometimes.
Yes, I suppose so. Oh, Professor, that orchid I brought up here to show you's gone. I couldn't find it in my bag.
That's too bad. Perhaps you forgot to pack it. Will you be down soon?
Yes, right away.
Are you coming, Doctor?
Of course.
Shall we go into breakfast?
No, thank you. I've got to get back to the city. Will you drive me to the station, Dr. Foster?
I'll be glad to.
But what about the interview?
Well, that'll have to wait until some other time. I just remembered an appointment at the office. So I've got to catch the next train. You'll excuse me, Countess?
Yes, I will excuse you.
Oh, Professor, do you also make a hobby of collecting coffins?
Why, yes, in a manner of speaking. I find a coffin much more comfortable than a bed. Many people do so, my dear. Is it so strange that I accept one while waiting for eternal rest?
No, I suppose not. Well, thank you for your hospitality. Goodbye.
I trust we will meet again. It has been so nice meeting you.
Bella, I spilled goulash on your electric organ. Is that expensive?
Don't tell me I'm still dreaming.
Why, what do you mean?
That gravedigger. He's real, isn't he?
Oh, he's real, all right. But I hardly think he's a gravedigger. More likely laying the foundation for a house.
You're a trusting soul, aren't you, Doctor?
Is that a crime?
No, on the contrary. I envy you.
Are you trying to make me believe you're one of those hard-boiled reporters that we read about or see in the movies?
No, but working on a newspaper, one becomes cynical and suspicious.
Well, I've enjoyed meeting you, Miss Hunter. I hope to have the pleasure of seeing you again.
I have a hunch you will, Dr. Foster.
Oh, tell me. Just why did you come up here? Or is it the secret?
It is, but somehow I feel that I can trust you.
You can.
You've heard of the case of the vanishing brides.
Why, surely.
I think I have a clue.
You don't mean that you suspect...
Yes, I do. I want to show you something. What are these?
Why, they're orchids, of course.
You bet they're orchids. And they didn't grow in my dreams. They're exactly like the one that disappeared from my bag.
Where did you get them?
I found them on the floor beside my bed this morning. The person who came into my room last night must have brought these with him.
That seems like a logical explanation.
There's no question about it. Honestly, Doctor, don't you remember meeting me in the hallway last night?
No, I don't. And if I did, I must have been asleep.
Either that or you were hypnotized.
Yes, that's quite possible.
Well, watch your step. And if you discover anything, phone me.
That's a promise.
Goodbye.
Not goodbye. Au revoir.
All right, print the story on page 1. Keep your fingers crossed that this paper isn't sued for libel by some of these phony suspects that the police are bringing in.
Well, I get me a Rembrandt of the guy they just brought in.
I don't want photographs. I want real clues. The DA's office can't pick up the madman who's stealing the bodies of these dead girls. Maybe we can.
Okay, I'll throw it in a wastebasket.
No, I'll have it developed. Doyle, where's Lefty?
Over at Central Station.
The only thing he gets over there is a game of gin rummy. Tell him to get back here.
Well, I got something.
I'll say you have. You're fired.
What do you mean? You can't do that to me.
Listen, just because the bodies of dead girls disappear is no reason why you can do a vanishing act.
But you gave me the assignment.
Yeah, I suppose I did. All right, where have you been? What have you uncovered?
Well, hey, not so fast. Listen, Mr. Keenan, last night I went through the most gruesome experience of my life.
You should talk. All my life has been a nightmare.
Well, you can rest easier now because I've seen plenty. If I can only prove I wasn't dreaming.
Dreaming?
I had a dream last night myself. I dreamed you gave me that raise you've been promising me.
All right, Madame Zora, go on with your dream story.
Well, there's a certain Professor Lorenz that lives upstate. He knows all about orchids, but insists that he doesn't grow them anymore. Yet I found these in my bedroom this morning.
Listen, Dizzy, you didn't go off someplace and get married, did you?
No, I didn't. But I saw the bodies of those other missing brides.
All right. Now, take it easy. Stop breathing hard, Pat, and tell me all about it. Did you really see any bodies?
Yes and no.
I see. Just a bit of ectoplasm.
Well, I'm sure I did, though, only... Oh, I can't explain it.
Yeah, you're suffering the same way I am. I see brides everywhere. Hear wedding bells ringing in my ears.
And I saw a dead man, too. A monstrosity.
Very well.
I'd like to see Miss Hunter.
Oh, I'm sorry. She's busy. She's with Mr. Keenan.
It's very important that I see her. I'm Dr. Foster. I wonder if you'd mind announcing me.
Mr. Keenan, there's Dr. Foster here. Insists on seeing Miss Hunter.
Tell him he can have all of her time from now on.
That's the Dr. Foster I was telling you about. Maybe he has more evidence.
All right, send the sawbones in.
Hey, look, if you don't mind, I'm going out for a nervous breakdown.
Well, Doctor, you almost beat me here.
Yes, I drove down.
Dr. Foster, Mr. Keenan, my editor.
Very glad to meet you, Mr.
How do you
Keenan.
know? This cub reporter of mine has been telling me a weird story about a certain Dr. Lorenz up in your neighborhood.
It's weird, all right, but I'm confident it's true. After you left, I looked around the station to find out if Lorenz had any of the coffins assigned to him. I found a consignment, all right. And instead of a coffin, it was a box filled with this stuff.
So what? That's ordinary garden moss.
It's moss, all right, but not ordinary. This is a special type used by florists and hybridizers for growing orchids. It's called osmundin.
Which proves that he does grow orchids like these. And the same kind were worn by every one of the brides that died.
Well, maybe it is a clue. But how do I know that the rest isn't a cockeyed nightmare? She admits that you don't remember talking to her.
I could have talked to her while in a somnambulistic state, under the influence of hypnotism.
Oh, now, wait a minute. Are you trying to tell me that this Professor Lorenz is a hypnotist as well as a horticulturist?
Why not? My short acquaintance with him has convinced me that he's a man of unlimited talents. He's strange, peculiar. I've even suspected him of being insane. But the fact remains he's not only a doctor, but a physicist and a scientist of great ability.
How about this hot-headed wife of his?
I hesitate to bring her into the case at all. Professional ethics forbids a doctor talking about his patients.
Oh, forget about your ethics, Doctor. After all, we're after a criminal. How does this woman fit into the picture? Come on, tell us all you know.
The peculiar fact about her is that although she has the appearance of a young woman, her heart and arteries indicate that she's at least 70 or 80 years old.
Well, that doesn't explain anything. Certainly doesn't explain why Dr. Lorenz should steal these dead girls.
It's possible they may still be alive.
Alive in a cataleptic state?
That's it.
All right. What are your other deductions?
Well, simply this. These young girls, whether dead or alive, are being used by Lorenz in some manner as human guinea pigs to sustain his wife in a youthful state.
Oh, that's preposterous.
It's nothing of the kind. Scientists are finding out every day that glands and hormones have a lot to do with life and health.
The glands in our bodies help determine the condition of our teeth, the texture of our hair.
All right, we'll admit all that. But I wouldn't dare print such a fantastic story.
I bring you the biggest story of the year and a chance to get this newspaper a real scoop, and you call it fantastic.
All right, I'll put Doyle on it to track it down.
I'm afraid you won't get very far. Professor Lorenz is a clever man, clever enough to withstand any investigation and destroy any evidence.
Why not track the fellow?
How?
Well, he steals dead brides, doesn't he?
Oh, now, look, Pat, do you want to be a June bride?
Well, sure. I mean, that is, no, not yet. Anyway, Lorenz knows me.
All right, then stop talking nonsense. This paper can't assume the responsibility of such a harebrained scheme.
Oh, please, Mr. Keenan, you can't pass up an opportunity like this. There she is.
Cigarettes?
Hey, she's cute. Well, would you like to dance?
Later. Business before pleasure, you know. Hello, Peggy.
Hello, Pat.
Miss Woods, Dr. Foster.
Good evening, Miss Woods.
How do you do?
I have something important to tell you.
I'm all ears.
Let's go to your dressing room.
Okay.
I won't be long.
All right.
Peggy, I've landed a good part for you. A chance to prove your talent.
Really? What is it, a picture or a play?
Neither one. My paper's going to stage a phony wedding, and we want you to be the perfect June bride.
Now, wait just a
With
minute.
bridesmaids and flowers and all the trimmings.
What is it, a circulation stunt?
No. You've heard of the case of the vanishing bride.
Sure.
Well, this is a plan we have to trap the person who's been stealing their bodies.
Are you kidding?
Certainly not. The job will pay you plenty.
How will I collect if I'm dead?
You won't be dead. All you have to be careful of is not to smell any flowers.
All I do is lie 6 feet underground and push them up. Nix, count me out.
Listen, Peggy. I'm offering you a chance to get your picture on the front page of every newspaper in this country. Overnight, you'll be famous. Broadway producers and Hollywood studios will be offering you contracts. Why, it's the chance you've been waiting for.
She's the most unusual type. Such fascinating eyes.
She'll make a charming addition to our family.
June 20th.
A date we shall not forget. Faga, what are you doing in this part of the house?
Master, I keep hearing my son's voice calling for me.
Your son is better off where he is. Go back to your work.
Master, you shouldn't have done it. He didn't deserve to die.
Do what I say and don't come up here again.
Yes, master.
Well, everything's all set. She's young and pretty.
Yeah. What assurance have we that this Lorenz guy will show up to make the snatch?
Hell yeah, bro!
And what happens if he does kidnap this fake bride?
Well, the private chapel and neighborhood will be covered with guards, and, well, Lorenz hasn't a chance to escape.
Providing he shows up. And if he doesn't, I'm the sucker and out $500.
And if he does, you have an exclusive story with big, juicy headlines.
I hope you're right.
Well, blushing bride, here's where you go on for your big scene.
Or big flop. My knees are shaking.
There's nothing to be afraid of. Here's your bouquet and the phony orchid. Now, don't forget to put on your act.
Leave that to me. You got plenty of photographers out there?
Certainly.
And what about the cops?
How many times do I have to tell you nothing's going to happen to you?
Oh, Miss Hunter.
Yes?
I wanted to ask you, in this ceremony, shall we use the word cherish or obey?
You mean for the bride?
Yes.
Well, just for this once, let's put the old-fashioned word in. Obey.
I've marked the words here. Just read the ceremony slowly, solemnly.
Yes, I understand.
I hope what you're doing isn't wrong.
It's all in good cause.
Well, I suppose it is. Well, if you need me, you'll find me in my study.
Thank you. You've been grand, Reverend. You'd better go get ready.
What do I do now?
Just march down the aisle and don't forget to faint at the altar.
Well, here goes nothing.
How's everything going?
All right so far, I guess.
Good.
Ceremony's about to begin.
I certainly hope somebody shows up besides these ham actors I'm paying.
You know, it seems to me that if Lorenz were ready to strike, he'd have sent an orchid.
Just a minute. I'll take that.
Did you say orchid?
And I'll take you with it.
There you are. Looks like our man's going to pounce all right.
It looks like you're right.
It looks just like a real wedding, doesn't it?
Yes. Too bad it isn't. Ours.
Is that a proposal, Dr. Foster?
It certainly is.
The minister would like to speak to you in his study, Miss Hunter.
But, oh, you mean the real minister?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I'll be right back. You wanted to see me, Reverend?
Where's Pat?
The minister sent for her. I'll be right back.
I'm pooping!
Oh, Pap!
Please, master, don't leave me.
Where is Toby, Master?
Toby's gone. Alice,
You shouldn't have left.
stop whimpering. How's the Countess?
Waiting as usual.
Hurry up, let's go.
There was trouble,
Yes, but we'll be finished before anyone finds us.
but the bride. What will we do without them?
We have to leave him here.
Which means I will perish.
Oh, it isn't hopeless to find other girls. In the meantime, we take this one with us.
What are you waiting for?
Well, my dear, again we meet, only under different circumstances. I would have preferred that you would be a bride, but it really doesn't matter. You will serve our purpose just as well.
Now both of my sons are gone. You betrayed me, Master.
I heard enough. There's work to do.
You betrayed me, Master. You shouldn't have done it.
You stay here and cover this.
Your hand is unsteady.
Can't see.
Pat. Is she dead?
No, just scared to death.
All right. Break it up. We've got headlines to write.
Do I get a byline?
After this, you can have a clothesline with my shirt on it.
I now pronounce you man and wife.
Finally make a newspaper woman out of you. Go and quit.
And to think that this was the cause of it all.
You know that's poison, dumbass. Most of all, when you die, you don't want to be a bother to anyone. It's also unpleasant. People don't like to be reminded of these things. To be considerate. Devise a mechanism so your disposal is virtually self-contained. I'll demonstrate. While waiting for the end, balance yourself, tilting on a chair, leaning backwards. At the moment of death, you lose your balance and fall back into the waiting, open grave. As you drop, your head hits a lever with a knife on the other end, cutting a rope that holds a load of dirt on a sheet of plywood, causing the dirt to fall off the board and on top of you. The board lands with its end stuck in the ground, serving as the grave marker. Very economical for the budget conscious. In advance, you wrote your epitaph on the board. in permanent magic marker saying, in contact with the infinite. Bella's Beauty Spa. Would you like to have a refreshing spa day? She needs it. Everyone needs an appointment at Bella's Beauty Spa. Prepare to be impressed by the many luxurious features of Bella's Beauty Spa, such as complimentary limousine service to and from your appointment. Here, Bella himself provides a toning neck massage. Afterward, the client is completely free from tension. Now, Bella is applying a rejuvenating Botox injection. Meet Bella's staff of certified estheticians. Francois, the hairstylist, trained in Paris, gently works in some hair conditioner. Oops, a bit too much pressure, but at Bella's Beauty Spa, satisfaction is guaranteed. Francois will make sure he gives the client the proper treatment. Mingle with Bella's other elite clientele. At Bella's Beauty Spa, the results always exceed your expectations. So put an end to people being repulsed by your complexion.
Get out, you gargoyle! Get out!
Bella takes the utmost pride in his work. His motto is, if you don't look good, he doesn't look good. Bella, Bella.
Which species are you interested in?
Human, please. You're a great ape. Isn't it exciting to be one of the 7 species of great apes?
He's a beast, an animal, and someday I shall have to destroy him.
Yet there is a school of thought that humans are somehow different or special.
It's a very rare species.
Now don't get uppity thinking you're better than the rest of the great apes. From what I can tell, all you do is make a bigger mess.
There's no question about it.
A case in point. Humans invented this device. Completely useless, except for one lethal purpose. And the less said about that, the better.
All right, we'll admit all that.
I think it's a waste for such a precision instrument to have only one unhealthy function. I think it should also have a health-promoting use. And I've got one!
Looks like our man's going to pounce all right.
Sinus infections are persistent because it's very hard to deliver antibiotics deep into the sinus chambers. This can help. We put in the antibiotic, a couple Q-tips. You see, the Q-tip clears the way, creating a passage through the mucus for the antibiotic to follow, all propelled by the velocity of the bullet. I guarantee this will kill all the bacteria in your sinuses. Select a nostril and voila!
Shall I telephone for the ambulance?
No, the undertaker.
I regret to say I was wrong. The antibiotic did not kill the bacteria. The bacteria did die. Lead poisoning.
This is something new.
New? It's sensational.
See? Being a great ape isn't so bad. A great ape gets to make great mistakes. Stay in contact with the infinite. What do you have here in your dimension?
It's lovely. It's beautiful.
There are a lot of things you think you have, but as master of what is not, I'll help you sort that out.
We want some assurance besides words.
You have consciousness, but it's hardly noticeable. There are some who say you have a self. I don't know about that either. Even if you did have a self, how can you be sure it's yours? Look, all you really have are time and this carcass, and they both run out on you.
Well, of all the rotten stories...
By the way, you don't really possess time. It's more like time possesses you.
I'm going out for a nervous breakdown.
Why 2 clocks? Elapsed time, felt time. Similar to heat index or wind chill. You know, like those blathering one-sided conversations that feel like they go on forever.
The glands in our bodies help determine the condition of our teeth, the texture of our hair.
And as for the body, its imperfection is matched only by its fragility. So, since you're a walking chunk of animated meat with a short expiration date, you're just like a cheap wind-up toy.
Here's where you go on for your big scene.
Your cadaver doesn't even last. Consequently, I conclude that getting up in the morning is a heroic act. To cope with the dreadful burden of existence, you need a savior. Who? Let Bela Lugosi into your life. Bela watches over you day and night. He protects you from harm.
Courage. I will not let you die.
And Bela Lugosi died so you might have eternal life. So what if you're just a slowly rotting cabbage? Might as well stick around and see what happens next. Could make some new friends when they toss you into the dumpster. Then you will know the infinite.
All my life has been a nightmare.
Stay in contact with the infinite. You can do it. We are going to fix this today. There is hope for you. Greetings, everyone. It's amazing that you're here. Each one of you had to be born to get here. Don't think about where you were before then. On your actual date of birth, it was your mother who did all the work. So a birthday present should serve a dual purpose. Commemorate your birthday and provide Mom some revenge. Now birds are perfect for this double duty. What's this? The police arriving to break up the party? What a misallocation of limited law enforcement resources. Not to mention the use of excessive force and disgraceful bird brutality. Are you sick of all those binary gender judgments? People expecting you to act a certain way based on what they assume you have between your legs? They need a dose of Dr. Torpor's gender fluid. Those people are definitely below a quart. I'm Dr. Torpor. Birthdays don't care what gender you are, neither do birds. And I certainly don't. Stay in contact with the infinite. Dr. Torpor's dating advice. Ultimate goals, marriage. Starring Robert Englund.
How many?
2 of them.
Jesus.
It has 2 people in it. What's it called again?
What, you gave it a dirty name? You can't even mention it?
Marriage, that's it.
So must you know pain?
Marriage is touted as the ultimate destination of love.
Sometimes you got a funny way of showing it.
But it's actually a legal agreement that originated back when women were considered property.
We are poor little lambs who have lost our way. Ba, ba, ba.
And what's with the same last name bit? Isn't that kind of creepy? I thought you weren't supposed to have sex with relatives.
Drive that devil out.
Marriage, a strange condition which often results in a blob-like, undifferentiated human mess wherein subsequent mutual observation monitoring and recrimination ensue.
This surpasses every concept of cruelty.
Remember that old adage, when you marry someone, you marry their whole family. Marriage increases one's commitment to a relationship because you're financially blackmailed into staying, and it makes it harder to get out of a bad relationship.
It never works, but it keeps them occupied, you know.
Dr. Torpor saying, if you must get married, know what you're getting into.
Oh, the stars, Robert. They're so beautiful.
I'm hungry.
And marriage feels like the infinite.
It's just like getting married. Everybody ought to do it once, but nobody ought to do it twice.
We now return to Desolate Weekdays with Dr. Torpor, already in progress.
Healthy relationships are reciprocal. This one appears rather one-sided. The young woman is not at all interested in who is pursuing her, and he does not seem to understand that he is just not her type. Communication is broken down completely, a sad state of affairs. Take proactive steps to say what you want and don't want to reduce the possibility of misunderstandings down the road. I'm Dr. Torpor, and take the infinite down the road with you.
Why don't you do something to help somebody?
I'm trying, okay? Dr. Torpor's dating advice. Sex. Just so you heterosexuals know, nature has played a dirty trick on you because male sex drive peaks in the early 20s.
And that is all you think about your one-eyed trouser trout.
Whereas female sex drive peaks in the 30s and 40s.
Johnny, it takes you 5 minutes.
Yet, older men are often seen with younger women. It really ought to be the other way around, shouldn't it? In fact, I think there's a slang word for women who have the good sense to do just that. Coopers.
Now you tell me.
No. Cougars. I mean cougars.
That's more like it.
But that term is sometimes considered derogatory. Why isn't there a negative slang word for older men who go for younger women? Like hyenas.
You bastards.
Couples often underestimate how challenging it is to arrive at sexual compatibility.
If it really bugged you, Johnny, you wouldn't do it.
Look, I just gotta break it to you, okay? Sex is overrated.
Are you sure we're doing the right thing?
After all, it is something you can handle yourself.
I suggest that you go right over there on those bushes and whistle your lizard.
Linking love with sex is great, if and when it happens.
I wasn't sure if you'd be coming.
But that is the ideal of romantic love.
This way.
A fabrication of that collective disease known as Western civilization.
A veil over reality.
In actuality, sex has two different, sometimes competing, functions.
Yes, of course, but who could denounce it?
Facilitating pair bonding and reproduction. Yet also, from a biological and evolutionary standpoint, males want to distribute their sperm all over the place.
You are stretching your efforts in the art of flattery.
Whereas females are more selective. As for some disadvantages of sex, let's not forget pregnancy, which results in children. And sexually transmitted infections, which result in...
Stop it! You're ignorant.
I guess this is as good a place as any to wrap up. In conclusion, I recommend you abstain from sex and instead stay focused on getting in contact with the infinite.
He's wrong, you know.
Dr. Torpor's dating advice. Ultimate goals, children. Let me put Junior down and get him all comfy. Don't worry, Junior will be nice and warm. I heated the guns in the microwave.
Doctor, he seems to be getting worse instead of better.
In dating, it's important to be aware of your ultimate goals. For some, the ultimate goal is eventually having children. Consequently, these persons are not interested in dating anyone who does not want children.
That's okay by me.
Allow me to make some points about having children.
Explain me more.
1, we have enough people. In fact, there's too many people, and it's been that way for a long time.
Rabbits, mice, monkeys, not people.
2, many people have a desire, an obsessive desire, to procreate. Understandable, because it is hardwired into us by nature. It is the purpose of every species to perpetuate itself. Each organism's job is to live long enough to reproduce. After that, biology doesn't care about you anymore. So, my point, when you hear the birds and the bees, the urge to have a baby can be completely disregarded. There is no longer any reason to take it seriously.
That's one of the nicest things that's ever been said to me.
3, children throw tantrums. 4, after what we just saw, do I need to remind you, you don't even know if you will like your offspring or if they will like you? You're making a big commitment to someone you don't know.
You like even skunk cabbage.
5, there's a major informed consent problem here. There is no way to ask a person in advance if they want to be born. And look what they're coming into. A monopoly game in progress, in which they can look forward to spending the rest of their lives competing with others for money and property, with an unlimited amount of horrible things that can happen to them until they die.
After all I've done for you, you might at least show a little gratitude.
6, do you really want to be legally responsible for any stupid thing your kid does before they turn 18?
I didn't mean it. You didn't mean it. You never mean it.
The blame will land on you every time. And this predicament is further exacerbated by the difficult challenge of being a good parent in the first place. How do you know you have the aptitude for it?
Please don't die. I'll get you some water, okay?
7, not only do I advise that you refuse to procreate, but I also recommend that you take severe precautions to avoid having a baby by accident
which, during the childbearing years, is an ever-present danger.
I didn't mean it.
I have often heard of your uncanny experiments, but this tops them all.
All that being said, parenthood is a noble endeavor. If you want to take on that important responsibility, Dr. Torpor stands in awe of your courage. It is truly heroic. Dr. Torpor saying, if the nut doesn't fall far from the tree, it's easier to keep an eye on it. And put someone else in contact with the infinite. Do you want to see the infinite? Do you want to look at the infinite? Do you? Goochie, goochie, goo.
We now return to the conclusion of the Return of Desolate Weekdays with Dr. Torpor.
Welcome, everyone. Good to see you all and your little babies. Many mothers, after giving childbirth, are dismayed to have anxiety, sadness, and feel moody and weepy. These are called the baby blues, and most mothers go through this. It can be disturbing because mothers generally expect childbirth to be a completely positive experience. But don't worry, these unpleasant emotions will go away in a few days. But if you're in a hurry, bounce away those baby blues with Dr. Torpor's Baby Booster Tea, made of 666 herbs and spices. You will feel like yourself again in no time and be ready to enjoy your new motherhood. Speaking of the blues, feeling stressed, need to get away from it all? Go on one of Dr. Torpor's psychotherapeutic encounter group pleasure cruises. Socialize with other people. Enjoy the beautiful Atlantic Ocean. Let unique and amazing new experiences expand your mind. I'm Dr. Torpor. If you're unhappy, there's no need to tiptoe around the subject. Say what you feel and ask for what you need. And stay in contact with the infinite.
We are poor little lambs who have lost our way.
Dr. Torpor, Dr. Torpor, Dr. Torpor.
Stay in contact with the infinite. You can do it. We are going to fix this today. There is hope for you. A career in the arts is always risky, but there are ways you can maximize your potential for success. This artist has made the unfortunate decision to build sculptures out of dead body parts. This is an even worse idea if those dead body parts are obtained from a cemetery, because since the corpses are embalmed and sealed in airtight caskets, they're basically human pickles and quite difficult to work with. Dedicating yourself to an art form is a grave undertaking. Select one that will not leave you with a clinging odor that is bound to be detrimental to your social status. I'm Dr. Torpor. Stay in contact with the infinite.
Welcome to Torpor Torpum's Infinite Top 40. I'm spinning stacks of wax, playing sound by the pound, and watching the records go round. Ooh, I am getting dizzy. I'm too busy to be dizzy, though. Weighing in at number 6, I'm counting down the hits, is that Motorhead Chance Winstead doing She Rolls.
My baby, she rolls and rolls and
and rocks whenever she walks. My baby, she rocks and rolls and rocks whenever she talks. My baby's a rock and rollin' tip.
Woo! Dig that wild percussion. Einst du denn Neubauten? You are forgotten. John Cage is in a rage. Philip Glass fell on his couch and said, ouch! What a grouch. But this will cheer him up. At number 5, direct from the beyond, is a groovy instrumental called Looking for Somebody from the Head on a Platter Orchestra. This will make you lose your mind and whatever you carry it in. What a happening scene, man! I'm ready to break the safety seal and flip my lid. I'm taking the pill, not ready to chill, drinking the swill, and looking for a thrill. And this is a thrill for you, Art Hall Jr. Doing what he did before, coming through the door at number 4 with a little melody called Valerie.
If I had 1,000 paintings in a marble gallery, every single picture would be a Valerie.
Wasn't that lovely? That big cat with the club, that was Art Hall Jr.'s manager. He's saying, don't give it all away now, save some for later. Leave him wanting a little more, not wishing you would stop. In other words, shut up! Now, I'm not gonna shut up, I'm gonna keep talking because this is for all of you cool ghouls in the classroom. Don't forget to brush your teeth now. It's the ghoul in school. Next time, that chick better take her dog to the vets for his shots. Woo-hoo. Oh man, it's the station manager, otherwise known as the big boss man. He's always a kick. Hey, Big Daddy, what's the lowdown from uptown?
Torpor, what the hell are you doing in that studio? Your show sounds like a troupe of baboons tap dancing on a corrugated metal shed. You know what that sound is? You hear that? You know what that sound is? That's the sound of radios being turned off all over the country right now.
That's a good one. Glad you like it, boss. He cracks me up out of sight. But I tell him he needs to tone it down because people won't know when he's serious. But I'm totally serious about Chance Winstead, who's on the charts again. He's burning rubber and peeling out, this time singing, Laugh, Children, Laugh.
And the Lord said, laugh, children, laugh. The Lord said, laugh, children, laugh. The Lord said, laugh, children, laugh. The Lord said, laugh, children, laugh.
Were you laughing, kids? Because that song was killing me. Well, you know, I'm starting to feel a major bummer, like a negative vibe. It's all this competition. Who's first? Who's second? What's most popular? What's selling the most? Who's making the most bread? Such a drag. Strap yourself in and hang on. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. The numero uno, the tippity tip top of the infinite top 40. Time to bop till you drop and it ain't never gonna stop. Lay it on me. It is by Kaiju Lou and the Wrecking Crew, Gamera. crazy new dance. It just came from outer space and it's catching on all over the place. The Gamera Stomp. Move your feet to the Gamera beat. It's really hot. Dr. Torpor, putting you wise to the heavy rap of my main man, Root Boy Slim. And I quote, put a quarter in the juke, boogie till you puke, and stay in contact with the infinite.
Welcome to Dr. Torpor's Theater of Fate. We're going to an opera house. We're going to meet the Phantom. He's a murderer. He's a terrorist. And he has an exquisite singing voice. But the tarot has revealed that he is embarked on a plan of self-defeat. And Dr. Torpor is opposed to self-defeat. So let us see if we can guide him to a better path. No, 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 no. As if strangling people and dropping a chandelier on an audience isn't bad enough. Now he's kidnapped this woman. He doesn't even know her. She doesn't know him at all. And he thinks he's in love with her. But you mortals, you do the same thing, don't you? You meet someone, you don't know them. They don't know you. You feel instant attraction. You hear birds singing. You see stars twinkling. You hear bells ringing. You feel tingly all over. Don't you know those are actually warning signs to run like hell? This serves as a warning to all. Never enter into any kind of relationship concealing a part of yourself that will easily be discovered. He's also sexually frustrated, spending too much time alone playing with his organ. He reminds me of the Bumble from Rudolph. The Phantom feels contempt for other people and disgust for the things they like. He wants to mock them and make fun of the things they enjoy. You know someone like that, don't you? On the other hand, he wants to remind us of something we desperately try to keep out of our minds, our imminent mortality. But there's a time and a place. You don't bring up, someday we're all going to die, at a baby shower. Did we just pick up the Jerry Springer show? Jerry! The Phantom desperately needs to use his head. He just can't get it through his ossified, thick, bony skull membrane that this woman is not interested in him. Instead, he does this cat thing.
The great Dr. Torpor has failed. I have had no effect on changing him off this course of self-defeat and folly that he's on. But I do give him an A+ for misguided persistence. He has put so much into this folly, he won't stop. And all he's doing is compounding his errors. Here is a lesson for all of us. It is better to accept the loss than to add to it and make it worse. Chilling. The Phantom meets a terrible end. But I was so impressed the way he pretended that he had some sort of explosive or dangerous object in his hand, and then showed that it was nothing and laughed in the face of death. I admire that kind of bravado when all is hopeless. And that scene when the Phantom is beaten to death, clubbed and thrown into the water to die. The Phantom was a very bad person and did many evil things. But that is such a brutal scene, it's hard not to feel sorry for him. Which is something to remind us all, as Friedrich Nietzsche said, beware in fighting monsters, lest ye become one yourself. I hope you were able to take something away from this misadventure. This is Dr. Torpor saying good fright, and stay in contact with the infinite.